Hi, my name is Christina Poitek, and I've been given the honor to pay tribute to none other than our little sure shot. So Phoebe Ann Moses, at a young age, was offered a shooting challenge by one of the most famous and successful sharpshooters in the world, Frank E. Butler, and she won. Phoebe Ann Moses, more famously known as Annie Oakley, had changed the shooting game forever. Annie Oakley would often miss a shot on purpose as a way to not show up the men that were in the show and to show the audience that she wasn't cheating, according to an article written by Casper in 1992. So Phoebe Ann Moses, at a young age, had to step up and provide for her family, as well as help break female barriers in such a male-centered event, and openly volunteered for 2 wars and offered to help train the troops that were going into war. So here's how Phoebe Ann Moses, aka Annie Oakley, had touched the hearts of so many people. So at a young age, Phoebe Ann Moses had to step up and help provide for her family. When her father passed away, she had to move from place to place in order to find a job. When her mother remarried, she was asked to come back home and help with the family finances. When Annie came back home, she took up shooting as a way to help with the family finances, shooting small game, trapping small game, and selling their furs. According to Robbins in 2006, she saved enough to pay off her mother and stepfather's new house because they could not afford to pay in full by themselves. Annie Oakley was a self-taught prodigy, and all she had was herself and her father's rifle to learn with. She used her sharpshooting skills to help provide for her family and continued to do so because in her head and in her mind, this is what she needed to do to help her family. The next reason this woman has blessed our hearts is that she helped break down female barriers in such a male-dominated event. So Oakley uniquely combined her talent at shooting with which many still viewed as a man's sport, with her embodiment of appropriate feminine attributes like her clothing or mannerisms. She reveals ways in which she, as a famous woman, pushed the boundaries of expected gender roles in discourses in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. According to a study written by Kanzler in 2014, she had to maintain a feminine appearance, and this was so crucial in her becoming popular and remaining popular, because if she appeared too masculine, then people would have assumed that her gender role and her society role should have stayed with being the regular, normal housewife instead of doing the shooting that she was doing. When she began shooting in public, it was almost considered shameful for a woman to shoot, because that was a man's business, according to an article by Robbins in 2006. So as a famous woman in an era rife with discussions about women's rights and roles in society, Oakley's popularity was inextricably related to ideas about gender. No discussion about her in newspapers or magazines failed to mention her petite size, her feminine attire, or her ladylike manners, according to Kanzler's article from 2014. Annie Oakley helped put a face to a female shooter that wasn't a woman trying to step on a man's toes. Rather, she was just a dainty female shooting, and that's what all she wanted to do. So the final reason, but obviously not the only reason, this woman has touched our hearts is that she openly volunteered for 2 wars and offered to help train the troops that were going into war. Although she was turned down, she did volunteer for the Spanish-American War and World War I. She offered to raise a female regiment of volunteers, but obviously at this time females were not allowed in the war, and she was turned down. Later, she offered to teach marksmanship to the troops. Oakley gave her time to the National War Council of the Young Men's Christian Association, War Camp Community Service, and the Red Cross, according to the centerofthewest.org. So to conclude, these are some, but certainly not all, the reasons Annie Oakley has won our hearts. She helped provide for her family at a young age. She helped break female barriers in a male-dominated sport, and openly volunteered for 2 wars. As a female who has been blessed to call you a personal role model, I am beyond honored to have been given the opportunity to pay tribute to you. Thank you for all the obstacles that you have overcome and continue to overcome for us. Please join me in thanking our little sure shot for all of the wonderful things that she has done for our world. Yay! Question time. Yes, ma'am. What? Why did I choose Annie Oakley? So Annie Oakley has always been a real big part of my life. I look up to her, and I've always admired her shooting in such a racy time at that period. Why did I... Oh, what's something interesting I learned from my research? So I learned that Annie Oakley actually married her sharpshooting challenge partner, Frank E. Butler, and they were married for like 50 years. And ironically, they died like a couple days apart. So they met together shooting, they stayed together shooting, and they died together shooting. So that was always an interesting concept to me. So thank you.